The world lost its heroes, its wonders. So how can we prepare for how bad things are going to get? Welcome to the Complete Story Series. We take trade paperbacks and single issues and we break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then review it dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Today we're going to be covering Volume 2 of Earth 2, and we are going to be skipping around because there's a lot of behind the scenes things that happen in this book. So if you want to read it yourself, don't forget to support this industry by buying this book online or at your local comic book store. And don't forget, we will be bringing you more of Earth 2 because it's one of my favorite long-running series. When we last left off in the world of Earth 2, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman had all died. Supergirl and Robin went through a portal ending up in some weird world. And we ended up with new heroes, new wonders, Green Lantern, Flash, and Hawkgirl. But Green Lantern, he has a lot of things going on right now, and he's told Hawkgirl and Flash that he isn't interested in making a new team. You see, Alan Scott lost someone dear to him during his transformation into the Green Lantern, his boyfriend Sam. He's been a wreck ever since he got home and he took the ring off, because it's at that moment that he started to realize that he had truly lost Sam. And that's when Hawkgirl found him. She explained that she has a talent for finding people, putting together mysteries and figuring out who's who. And she figured out that Alan Scott, the billionaire, is actually Green Lantern. So she asks him, please join them. And Alan tells her that he has always been a man who follows his own path. He doesn't do team. So she fires a dart through the picture of Sam. You're just a target without your ring, Alan. And she takes off into the skies, leaving only a feather behind. Meanwhile, the World Army is preparing for their own endeavors, and they want the Wonders to work for them. And if they won't, they'll build some, like Red Tornado. And on the other side of the world, the Darkseid's troops that were left behind when Batman blew up their tower, they're starting to build a new army under Steppenwolf, with the daughter of Wonder Woman, Fury, by his side. Things are starting to move along in the world of Earth 2. So Hawkgirl returns to her friend Khalil because she needs to convince him to put back on the helmet, to bring out his powers, to bring out the one known as Nabu. But Khalil tells her that it wasn't him that foretold the location of the Flash or that the Green Lantern was coming. It was Nabu. When he puts the helmet on, he shares his mind with Nabu, and there's insanity that comes with that, sharing his mind with another individual. He doesn't want to give up his sanity for power. But Kendra convinces him to use the helmet to at least teleport around, because Jay Garrick, the Flash, is back in Michigan checking in on his mom, and she wants Khalil to make sure that Jay is okay. Over in Michigan, Jay walks up to his house while Khalil stands at a distance watching him, and he calls out for his mother to make sure that she's okay, and she tells him that she has been frantic. Even though it's only been a couple of days, the World Army showed up and they had a whole bunch of questions. Jay stops her. They were here? How long ago? 2 hours? Is that a problem? At that moment, the ceiling caves in as the Atom arrives, yelling, knock knock. The World Army walks in and they order Jay to stand down, and Jay tells them, no. He runs at top speed around the room, dropping all of the guards and putting on his uniform and then dodging the Atom's giant hand. That's when a random man appears and grabs Jay's mother. Jay stops right away and the woman in charge of the World Army kicks him across the jaw. But that's when having Khalil around comes in handy, because he steps out hitting the thug holding Jay's mom over the head. Seeing his chance, Jay grabs both his mother and Khalil and he runs as fast as he can, until the three of them vanish. They appear in what is known as Nabu's realm, and the Tower of Fate stands before them in the distance. But that's the least of their worries, as one of Nabu's enemies, Wotan, has summoned them here, and he wants the helmet of Nabu for himself. Jay tries to run at Wotan to free Khalil, his mother, and himself, but Wotan's magic is too great, and he lifts Jay Garrick off of the ground and he holds him upside down, before throwing him back down. Khalil explains that the power of Nabu manifests itself in the helmet, and that's what Wotan wants. The reason Khalil hid it here in the Tower of Fate is because when he wore it, Nabu's spirit tried to take over his body, and it was driving him insane. But wearing the helmet even that little bit imbued Khalil with the magical energies of Nabu, and his last act was to place it in the Tower of Fate away from him, because every time he uses magic, he can feel his sanity slipping away. Since the tower can only be entered by Khalil and his friends, they need to bring the helmet of Nabu out, or Wotan will kill Jay's mother. And on that note, Wotan teleports both men into the Tower of Fate. And all around them, the floor is the walls and the walls of the ceiling. Gears and devices turn all over and nothing is where it should be. Meanwhile, across the globe, Alan Scott has learned something tragic from Sam's father at Sam's grave. While Alan thought the terrorist attack on the train was aimed at him, it was in fact aimed at Sam. With this knowledge in hand, Alan uses the powers of the Green Lantern to tear through the gangs of China. He kills as many of them as he can and he tortures the rest of them, trying to get his information, until he realizes that he is really bad at following clues, but he knows someone who isn't. Tracking Hawkgirl to a parademon cell in Louisiana, Alan admits he may actually need some help. She is able to follow clues and resolve a mystery, and he needs her to find Sam's killer. Back in the Tower of Fate though, Jay and Khalil are walking up the endless stairs and down the walls, trying to find where the helmet is. The place is an ever-changing labyrinth, and the only thing they have to work with is a feeling that Khalil is getting as to the location of the helmet. Where could it be? But their situation is about to get even worse as the Great Beast arrives from the ceiling. Jay grabs Khalil and he runs at top speed through this labyrinth, trying to get away from the beast, but the problem is that up is down and down is up, and he has no idea where he's going. So Khalil tells him to stop, that he has come up with a better idea. The Flash will keep the Great Beast occupied while Khalil finds the helmet, the only thing that can force the Tower of Fate to listen to them. So Khalil feels Nabu talking to him, taunting him to come back for the power, and Jay hides out with the Great Beast sniffing around looking for them. And that's when Jay realizes he'll need to go down there and get the Great Beast's attention, otherwise it'll find Khalil and this plan will be ruined. So he runs down and he dodges a swipe and then he gets caught by the beast's other hand. Luckily, Khalil has found his way through the maze and he's found the helmet. He begins talking to the helmet. He'll do this. He'll accept his fate. But Khalil asks the helmet of Nabu about his sanity. Will he get to keep it? And the soul of Nabu tells him he may lose it, but he may also have the will to hold on to it. This is only the echo of his soul. He cannot foretell the future. So Khalil tells him he'll do it, but he gets to choose the name. So Dr. Fate and Nabu agree. They will be Dr. Fate together. But he wants to know what changed Khalil's mind. And Khalil tells him that it was Jay Garrick, a young man that isn't in control and he hasn't been since he got his powers, but he uses them to the best of his ability to be a hero. If Khalil can be inspired by Jay, if he can use these powers for good and save the world, then let it be his fate as he puts on the helmet, becoming Dr. Fate. In an instant, he appears before Jay Garrick, and he puts down the Great Beast. He then teleports himself and Jay out of the tower and back in front of Watan. Watan, here I am! He charges in hard and fast right at Watan, and in a giant explosion of magic, both men are thrown back. He throws a protection spell down to block Watan's attacks, and then he creates a portal back to Earth so that Jay can get his mother back there, and Dr. Fate can take their fight back to Earth. Meanwhile, the Green Lantern and Hawkgirl have tracked Sam's killer down to the port of China, and they open up a single shipping crate to find a very shocking sight. The bodies of parademons. Someone is collecting the dead bodies of Darkseid's army and putting them here. Hawkgirl tells them that they need to return to the last mob boss that they spoke to since he had this information. But Alan feels the Earth pulling at him, the green telling him that it needs protection. He apologizes to Hawkgirl and tells her that he can't stop this feeling. He needs to go, and he rockets as fast as he can to Boston, where the two titans of magic are fighting it out in the sky. Red and yellow sparks are flying all over. Flash tells him to stay out of the fight. This one is for their new friend, Dr. Fate. But they can do some stuff to help. The World Army is coming in to get involved in this fight, and the Green Lantern and Flash take off to stop them. Watan and Nabu have had this battle time and time again, and regardless of the power that Watan has obtained, Dr. Fate has more, and he destroys the body that Watan is in, ending their duel. He then lands in front of the Green Lantern and Flash, and he teleports them all away. They all go to Alan Scott's tower in the middle of New York, where he has decided to help Jay and his mother fix their image problems with the World Army, and they can stay in the tower with him until they can go back to the public, and maybe they can all be a team now, because he's starting to realize he could use some help. So we now have Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, Flash, and Dr. Fate. But at this exact moment, there's a new problem arising, as Steppenwolf has built his army, and he's preparing to battle against the world. What will our new team of wonders do? Find out next time, right here on our Earth 2 storyline. Now, for those of you wondering, this is Volume 2, and like I said, I love the Earth 2 storyline, so I honestly love bringing this story to you guys. And if you enjoyed this story, make sure you check out the other videos on the screen right now, you just might like those as well.